You are smarter than your boss. Correct? You have better ideas than your competitors. Don't you? You know you are capable of greatness. So why have you achieved nothing? Why are you a genius, trapped in a prison of laziness? You tell yourself you are waiting for motivation, for the right moment, for inspiration to strike. That is a noble lie. It is the bedtime story you tell yourself, so you don't have to face the cold, hard truth of your own inaction. Machiavelli taught that motivation is for peasants. Princes create their own. This is not a self-help video. This is a prince's guide to self-conquest. You will get 3 laws to activate the genius you have let sleep for far too long. Your potential is a disease. It is a golden cage you have built for yourself. You live in the comfortable, warm fantasy of what you could be. This fantasy protects you from the brutal, cold reality of what you are. A spectator, a critic, a ghost at the feast of life. How many brilliant books are buried in your mind, unwritten? How many businesses remain as doodles in a notebook? How many world-changing ideas have died silently in your shower? You see the world with a clarity that others lack. You see the flaws in their systems, the stupidity of their choices. But you do nothing. Your insight has not led to action. It has led to arrogance. A quiet, secret contempt for a world you refuse to join. Do you know what the world does with your potential? Nothing. It doesn't see it. It doesn't care about it. The world does not reward potential. It rewards results. And your results are 0. You mistake your potential for an achievement. But potential without action is a currency with no value. It is a check you can never cash. You are the king of a country that exists only on a map in your head. Today, we invade that fantasy kingdom. We will burn it to the ground. And from the ashes, we will build an empire in the real world. Your first strategic error is that you have no enemy. Your lazy mind exists in a state of comfortable, peacetime peace. And in peace, there is no urgency. There is no need for greatness. There is only the slow, comfortable drift toward mediocrity. A wise prince, in times of peace, knows he must prepare for war. A lazy genius must manufacture one. A clearly defined enemy is the most powerful psychological tool for creating focus and relentless drive. An enemy gives you a target. It simplifies your mission. Your goal is no longer an abstract, gentle realizing my potential. It is a concrete, visceral defeat him. Vague goals inspire vague efforts. A mortal enemy inspires total war. Do you think the greatest achievements in history were born from a gentle desire to be better? They were born from a burning, primal need to conquer, to defeat a rival, to prove a hater wrong, to vanquish an opposing ideology. Hatred, when channeled by a brilliant mind, is a cleaner and more powerful fuel than 1,000 motivational quotes. It is pure, high-octane energy. Your problem is not that you lack motivation. It is that you have aimed your vast emotional capacity at nothing. It is a common fault of men not to reckon on storms in fair weather. Niccolo Machiavelli. You have been living in fair weather for too long. It has made you soft. It has made you weak. It is time to create your own storm. Consider Anna, a talented but lazy artist. For years, she painted only when she felt inspired. Her work was brilliant, but inconsistent. She was going nowhere. She told herself she was above the crass commercialism of the art world. Then, a less talented but more ambitious artist from her circle, Mark, began to achieve commercial success by creating a watered-down, simplified version of her style. Anna was filled with a white-hot, righteous rage. Mark became her enemy. Every time he had a new exhibition, it was a declaration of war. She stopped waiting for inspiration. She started working with the cold, calculating discipline of a soldier preparing for battle. Her enemy gave her the gift her talent never could, a reason to get out of bed in the morning. You must declare a silent war. Identify one person or entity that represents what you are fighting against. It could be a competitor who is winning with an inferior product. It could be a rival in your field who you know you are smarter than. It could even be an ideology you despise. Write their name down. This is now your target, your personal Carthage that must be destroyed. Your goal is not to attack them personally. It is to use them as a focusing lens for your ambition. Every day, ask yourself one question. What have I done today to move my pieces forward on the board and to push my enemy's pieces back? You have manufactured an enemy. You have given your ambition a target. The fog of vague potential is beginning to clear, replaced by the sharp, cold focus of war. But a declaration of war is meaningless without an army. An army without a deadline is just a mob. A prince without a point of no return is just a man in a costume. Now you must force your own hand. You must create the beautiful terror of necessity. Your second strategic error is that you always leave yourself a path of retreat. This is the hallmark of the lazy genius. You keep your dead-end job while thinking about your business. You tell people you're working on a novel, but you never give them a date. Your mind is a master of creating safety nets, escape hatches, and backup plans. And these safety nets are the very reason you never learn to fly. They are a constant, whispered permission to fail. A prince who wants to inspire his army to fight with desperate, superhuman courage does not give them an easy path home. He burns the bridges behind them. He creates a situation where the only options are victory or death. When retreat is not an option, the human will find resources it never knew it possessed. You have been living your life with a dozen bridges leading back to the comfortable, mediocre village of your current reality. Are you surprised that you keep finding yourself back there? Why do you refuse to commit? Is it because you are being strategic? Is it because you are being prudent? Or is it because deep down you are a coward? You must force yourself into a position where failure has real, tangible, and painful consequences. The fear of that pain will be a greater motivator than any vague dream of success. The one who has the power to make others afraid is in a position to be feared. Niccolo Machiavelli, paraphrased for self-application. You must become the prince who makes your own lazy self afraid of the consequences of its inaction. You must become the tyrant your own comfort fears. Tom was a lazy genius coder. He had a side project he knew could be huge. For 2 years, he tinkered with it in his spare time, making little progress. It was a hobby, a dream. Then he did 2 things. He took a small business loan from a family member he deeply respected, putting not just his finances, but his honor at risk. And he publicly announced a launch date to his entire professional network on LinkedIn. Suddenly, the project was not a hobby. It was a ticking bomb. The fear of public humiliation and the terror of private shame became his new masters. He worked with a focus he had never known. He had burned his bridges. The only way forward was to build a new one, out of success. To implement this, you must use the weapon of public accountability. Choose one specific, measurable goal. For example, I will finish the first draft of my book by December 31st. Now, you must make that goal public. Post it on social media. Email it to 10 people you respect and whose opinion you fear. Create a situation where backing down will cause you intense social shame. Shame is a more powerful motivator than inspiration. Use it. Do not hide. You have a target. You have burned your bridges. You are beginning to feel the cold, beautiful pressure of necessity. Are you starting to see that motivation is not a feeling to be waited for, but a condition to be engineered? If you are ready to stop waiting and start building, write, "I build my own cage" in the comments. Let's see who is ready to become their own master. You have an enemy to focus your will and a point of no return to guarantee your commitment. You have created the external conditions for war, but the final and most important battle is always internal. It is the daily, grinding trench warfare against the traitor within, your own lazy, comfort-seeking nature. Now, you must learn to govern this unruly, rebellious subject. Your final strategic error is that you try to rule your inner kingdom with love and gentle persuasion. You try to coax your lazy self into action. You read motivational books. You wait for it to feel like working. This is the strategy of a weak and ineffective ruler, a democratic leader in a state that requires an absolute monarchy. You are destined to be overthrown by the populist mob of your own impulses. A wise prince understands that while love is pleasant, fear is a more reliable and consistent tool of governance. You must establish a system of clear, immediate, and non-negotiable consequences for inaction. Your lazy self should not feel a gentle encouragement to work. It should feel a cold, rational fear of what will happen if it does not. This is not about self-hatred. It is about creating a predictable, orderly state. The trains must run on time, every single day. At the same time, a wise prince knows that a populace ruled only by fear will eventually revolt in a blaze of burnout. Therefore, you must also implement a system of small, strategic, and immediate rewards for disciplined action. These are not grand luxuries that sabotage your progress. They are small, calculated bribes to reinforce the desired behavior. The perfect, unbreakable combination of the stick, fear of consequences, and the carrot, promise of reward, is the oldest and most effective system of control known to man. It is time you used it on yourself. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Niccolo Machiavelli. Let your lazy self fear your disciplined self. Let it know that the ruler of your mind is not a gentle diplomat, but an absolute monarch who will not tolerate dissent. Maria wanted to learn a new language, but her lazy genius mind always found excuses. So she made a pact with a friend. She gave the friend $100 in cash. For every day she skipped her 30-minute practice, the friend was instructed to burn a $5 bill. The visceral, immediate pain of losing money became more real than the vague pleasure of skipping the work. At the same time, for every week she completed all 7 sessions, she allowed herself to buy 1 book from her wish list. The fear of the penalty got her to start. The anticipation of the reward kept her going. She was not relying on motivation. She was responding to a system she had built to enslave herself. You will now create your own system of governance. Define a single, critical daily action for your primary goal. Then, define 1 punishment and 1 reward. The punishment must be an immediate, annoying consequence. For example, a small financial penalty, a chore you hate, a donation to a political cause you despise. The reward must be a small, immediate pleasure that does not undermine your goal. For example, 30 minutes of a game, an episode of a show. You are no longer negotiating with your impulses. You are issuing a decree. Obey and be rewarded. Disobey and be punished. There is no middle ground. You have been waiting for a lightning bolt of inspiration to strike. You have been hoping for a muse to arrive. You have treated your genius like a delicate flower that needs perfect conditions to bloom. This is the great deception that has kept you a prisoner in the garden of your own potential. The great liberating truth is this: your genius is not a flower. It is a beast, a wild, powerful, and lazy beast. And it does not need to be coddled. It needs to be broken, tamed, and put to work under the iron will of its master. You are the prince. Your mind is your kingdom. Your laziness is the rebellion. It is time to establish order. This is your code of self-conquest. Manufacture a war. Give your ambition a target. An enemy clarifies the mission and creates urgency. Force your hand. Burn your bridges. Engineer situations with real, painful consequences for failure. Govern with an iron fist. Rule your daily actions through a cold, calculated system of fear and reward. The world is full of brilliant failures. People who will die with their best ideas still locked inside them. Their gravestones should read, "Here lies potential." They will be remembered, if at all, for what they could have been. This will not be your story. Your potential has been your prison long enough. Today, you turn that prison into an empire. The time for waiting is over. The time for ruling has begun. If you are ready to stop waiting for motivation and start commanding it, write, "I am the prince of my mind" in the comments below. Welcome to your reign.